Hey y'all, my name is Meredith and today I'm going to be showing you how I make gluten-free baked buffalo chicken sandwiches. I am starting this channel because I got diagnosed with celiac disease about 7.5 years ago, and ever since then I have found it so hard to find really good gluten-free recipes and food. So I decided why not take matters into my own hands and make all my favorite dishes gluten-free. So the recipe and the instructions are going to be down below if you want to go ahead and screenshot those to make it yourself, but I'm also going to show you how I make it. This recipe is going to make you 4 sandwiches. I have placed a single layer of saran wrap over top of my chicken, and now I'm going to pound it out with my meat pounder. Now my 2 medium-sized chicken breasts look massive, so I'm going to take my saran wrap off gently and set it down because I'm going to use it again. I'm now going to cut them down the middle. Now that I have cut them, I'm going to take my saran wrap and gently place it back over my chicken. Where you cut them, you're gonna have sort of a straight edge, and I want to just pound that out quickly just so that it gets a little bit more evenly shaped. I just wash my hands. Make sure after you deal with the raw chicken, you wash your hands. I have set my chicken aside, and now I'm going to prepare the eggs, the breadcrumbs, and our other dry mixture, which is flour and a few spices. I'm gonna start with my 2 eggs and break them into the bowl, and then whisk them gently with a fork until the yolks are evenly distributed. While I do that, I do wanna give a disclaimer that anytime it comes to breading chicken for a recipe, I always used to shy away from it and kind of thought that it was scary or it was too much work. But since these are baked, you don't have to worry about frying them, and the breading part is super easy and it's fast and it's not that messy. I have set my eggs aside, and I now have 3/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs in a bowl. You'll see in the recipe down below that I say you need a shallow bowl. It's not that the sides can't be tall, but you do want the base to be somewhat big. That way when your chicken lays down in it, it doesn't have to get all crumpled up. So I use a Kroger brand of traditional breadcrumbs. I will insert a photo so you can see the brand that I use. And then for my flour, I am using Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 baking flour. So I have my eggs and my breadcrumbs. This is going to be my second and third step. Now I have to prepare my first step, which is a flour mixture with garlic powder, paprika, salt, and pepper. So I just added my gluten-free flour, my paprika, and my garlic powder. Next, I'm going to add just a pinch of salt, like so, and then about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. You can just eyeball it. I like a lot of pepper. Now I'm going to gently mix this so it doesn't go flying everywhere until it is evenly distributed. And it looks just about like this. So I have a baking dish. It just needs to be large enough to put your 4 pieces of chicken on it, or however many you're choosing to make. I use Reynolds Wrap non-stick foil. Make sure it is non-stick, because the best part about this sandwich is that it's crispy, and if you lose that crispiness, then that's not gonna be fun. So even though it is non-stick, I'll insert a photo here so you can see exactly which one I use. I am going to spray it a little bit as well, just to be sure. Again, the best part is crispy part. So here comes the quote-unquote most difficult part of this process. This is the part that scared me when it came to ever breading anything, and then once I did it, I realized that I was missing out on such wonderful, delicious crispiness. So first thing you're gonna do is pick whatever piece you would like and gently lay it down in your flour mixture. And I want to pat it down because I want to make sure that all of the dry ingredients get down into the crevices. You'll see that a little spot got missed, so you might have to flip it over a few times and gently pat it in. Next, choose one hand to be your dry hand and one hand to be your wet hand. My right hand is going to be my wet hand, so I'm going to use my right hand to dunk it into the eggs. Push it in lightly and then flip it over so it is completely coated in the egg mixture. And then you want it to drip off a little bit. You don't want any of that big chunky or goopy egg sitting on top of it before it goes into your breadcrumbs. And then you're going to lay it down in your breadcrumbs, switch your hands from your wet hand to your dry hand, and you are going to do the same thing like you did in the flour, where you just flip it over a few times, making sure it gets evenly coated in your breadcrumbs, because that is what's going to make it nice and crispy. So your chicken looks like this, and then lay it down flat on your baking tray. So it is possible that you will mix up your wet and your dry hands at some point during this process, and your fingers will look like this, so just make sure you wash them really good. But I have all 4 pieces of chicken on my baking dish, and there is one more step before we throw them in. This is the final step before I say goodbye to my chickens and send them off to the oven. This is 2 tablespoons of butter, stick butter, that I have melted, and I'm just going to lightly spoon them on top of the chicken. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to spread it around. This just helps the chicken get nice and golden brown. Okay, practicing my waitress skills. So my chicken is ready to go in the oven. My oven is set at 425. They're gonna go in for 20 minutes, and then we'll flip them for the last 10 minutes. While my chicken is cooking for the first 20 minutes, I am going to use a small dish. This is actually like a glass Tupperware, and it's the perfect size because you want your chicken to be able to lay flat inside when you flip it in the sauce. So my buffalo sauce is just Frank's Red Hot Buffalo. Mistake I made one time is they also make a hot buffalo, and all the labeling is the same except for it just says hot in front of buffalo, so make sure you don't get that one because that one is extra spicy. So I'm going to do half a cup of buffalo sauce into my dish. I'm now going to mix in my 1 tablespoon of honey. The honey is pretty thick, so just make sure it gets all evenly distributed. Okay, and now that can sit and rest until it's time to dip our chicken in it. It has been 20 minutes, which means it's time to take my chickens out and check them and flip them. Okay, so these look perfect. They are starting to get nice and golden brown on the side that I put the butter on. So I'm going to flip it, and it should look just like this. This one kind of shrunk up on me. Okay, so they look perfect. You want to kind of maneuver them around so that they're back sitting in their buttery goodness again. And then I'm gonna put them back in for 10 minutes so they can get nice and golden brown on this side as well. My chicken is almost done, so I'm going to heat up my bun. Normally I would heat up more, but it's just me by myself today. So I'm just gonna heat up 1 bun. You can either put it on a baking dish or put it in some aluminum foil. I will insert a photo of the bun I am using today. Not really my favorite. I've had them before. They're super crumbly, but they're the only ones that were at the grocery store when I went shopping yesterday, so it is what it is. Our chicken is done and ready to be taken out. I am gonna leave my hamburger bun in the oven for right now. It's just wrapped in the foil so it won't get too toasty. And while I dip my chicken, I'm gonna leave it in there so it gets nice and warm. This chicken looks perfect. I am only going to eat 1 piece right now. I recommend that if you want to save some for later or you have leftovers, don't dip them all because then they won't be as crispy later if you store them in the sauce. So only dip what you're going to eat. I am so excited for you guys to make this because, I mean, come on. This sandwich is so good. I don't want to say the M word, M-O-I-S-T, because you probably hate that word as much as I do, but the chicken is that. And even though this bun is pretty dry, like most gluten-free buns are, this sandwich has pickles on it, ranch, the buffalo sauce, so it is fairly wet, so you don't have to worry about it being a dry sandwich, even if your bun is. If you want, you can also make this with blue cheese instead of ranch. You can add tomatoes to it. You can add cheese to it. The full recipe for my gluten-free baked buffalo chicken sandwiches are down below, so screenshot it if you want to make it yourself. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would love to know what you think if you make this in your own kitchen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.